Welcome to There Is a Method to the Madness. My name is Maxwell. I'm an exercise physiologist and personal trainer. I'm the owner of Maxwell's fitness programs, and I've been in business since 1994. The purpose of this podcast is to give you the real deal, to give you the scientific information, and explain it to you in a way that you make use of, and then you go out and do your exercise, you eat like you're supposed to. And basically, I'm trying to replace all of the nonsense out there with some good, sound, scientific advice, all right? I'm going to talk actually a lot about that subject today. Before I do that, let me thank Jonathan and Lynn Gilden of the Gilden Group at Realty Pros. Jonathan and Lynn are your guys for real estate, okay? We all need that guy we call for a certain area, whether it be to fix appliances. I mean, I've got a great AC guy, I've got a refrigerator guy, I've got a great mechanic, and they are your guys in real estate. And I say that, kind of joking around because Lynn is obviously a beautiful young lady, not a guy, but you guys know what I mean. If you need any help with real estate, whether you're buying or selling, please give them a shout at 386-451-2412. Personally, I have Jonathan working on something for me. I wouldn't trust anybody else right now. He's simply the best. All right, so let's get down to the meat of the matter today. In the beginning, I talk about how I introduced this podcast as being scientific, the method to the madness. I used to say that all the time. I mean, I still do. It's just even early in my career when I first got going, when I would explain things to people, they might go, really? Or, oh, how come we do that? And I say, there is a method to the madness. Like, it's just not all made up. I mean, there really is a science in the diet and exercise industry. So I'm going to talk a lot about that, like I said in the beginning. I teach this fitness class in Daytona Beach Shores on Wednesday. I get gas money for it, but I do it more out of volunteer work. And I don't say that oh man, Rob does this volunteer work. And I'm not looking for pats on the back or anything like that. I mean, I really, really enjoy it. I guess I'm just pointing out that it's not something I do for financial gain. And I'm going to get to why this matters here in a sec, but I'm just introducing this here. I started doing it when I was helping out the Mayor's Fitness Challenge in Daytona Beach Shores because one of our great loyal clients is Nancy Miller, the mayor of Daytona Beach Shores. She asked me to get involved, and I know her person that's a head of city planning and recreation and all that kind of stuff. I actually used to work with her years ago, great person as well. So I said, absolutely I want to help, and I went to their initial meetings and they talked about what their vision was, which was more or less getting people moving versus a weight loss. And I thought, that's great. I want to be a part of that. I'm friends with Adam Behringer, who did the Mayor's Fitness Challenge and pretty much started the whole thing in our area in New Smyrna Beach and did a fantastic job. So I felt like this is a good thing, and I felt like I had a lot to offer and just a lot of good minds coming together. And my part was going to be to teach a form exercise on Wednesdays, meaning we'll do some easy, at-home style strength training stuff, mostly with dumbbells and some body weight. And Nancy, the mayor, said, I really think what people need is to know how to do things right. And I said, absolutely. So that was my part. And then when it ended, they, not tooting my own horn, it is what it is. At the meetings, all the people were like, we love that class. We love learning how to lift weights. We love learning how to do dumbbells. And they wanted me to come back. So they kind of lobbied the mayor and the city planner. And, they asked me, so, well, will you do it? And, for what price? And I said, look, this price isn't a big deal. If I got the time, I'll do it. And I did have the time and, I just said, here, pay me this, which is covers gas, but I wanted to do it. And yesterday was a good reminder of why I wanted to do it. it kind of brings me back to my roots when I was in my 20s, getting my business going. And I was so enthusiastic and working with people who were like, really sedentary, or maybe they were active, but they really didn't do much strength training. And it was more groups of people, which is different for me because I'm so used to doing either personal training or, at the most 2 or 3 at a time or something like that. So, it's different kind of like leading these groups and, having different abilities and having questions kind of come out of nowhere that make me chuckle a little bit because, I haven't heard it in so long because, when you get going, when you do what you've been doing for so long, you're just in such a routine. So it was nice to get out of the routine. So I'm there yesterday, and we had the biggest class yet. I mean, it's like, wow, this is really taking off, And for the Mayor's Fitness Challenge, they weren't charging the residents and people that wanted to come from the outside. It was free if they participated, but they decided if they're going to do this class when this ended, which is what we're doing now, they would pay $5 a person, which, of course is very, very cheap, right? Not trying to discount anybody who's paying the $5. I'm not trying to be not sensitive with anybody on a fixed income or whatever. I'm just saying, like, for guided exercise, that's an extremely fair price that the city is giving them. But anyway, it's been growing and growing. And like yesterday, we had close to 20 people. I'm like, wow, this is like really taking off. They don't advertise, it's just, they tell their friends, and a lot of people come from the Daytona Beach Shores pickleball club they have over there. And a lot of the pickleballers, I call them, they come over, they tell their friends, and they've just been filling it up. So when I was finishing up yesterday, every time I do this class now, and sometimes Ellen goes over and teaches it when I've got a prior commitment, and they love her too. But every time I teach this class, there's new people. And it's like you kind of have to break them in a little bit. Not that it's a level thing. Like, it's not like we started somewhere and now we're up to a certain point after, 4 months now. It's not like that. We kind of like start from scratch every time. But, there's always going to be people that are more advanced because they've been coming longer. So there's always new people, and I'll start out teaching them how to squat. And it's amazing how people... I shouldn't say amazing. Why am I surprised? It's like if I were to, so I'm learning how to play piano, for my instructor, Natalie, who's fantastic. Everything just seems so easy. And I'm like, what? Like the other day, I was like, that's what that swoopy line means? I'm supposed to be holding this key down the whole time? It's like, I had no idea, even though she's probably told me a million times. So I shouldn't say I'm surprised with the squat. Why would people know how to do it unless they've been taught? But like, that's one of the most fundamental things I go over each time, and it's the same thing. Hey, push your butt back, hinge back, keep your chest up. Don't worry about depth as much as your posture, things like that. And like, it's so cool to watch people, like in the beginning of the class, like this one lady yesterday, I kept saying, you're bound to the sun, you're bound to the sun. Because as she did her squat, she was just totally bending forward like she's doing a bow, and it kind of became a joke, and that became like her nickname for the class or whatever. But by the end of the class, she was keeping her chest up, and I'm like, yeah, that's so cool. And she says, it feels so much better on my back. And I'm like, well, of course. When you're bending over, that's tough on your back. But to get to the main point, after the class, this lady who comes every week, very thin, frail, nice, sweet, just pulls me aside yesterday as I'm getting ready to leave. And she says, I am so glad I found this class. Like, lifting these weights has added so much quality to my life. My body feels better. I feel like I can do more things. I'm more energetic, and I've never known how to do this before. And I'm just so grateful I came across this class, And that touched me, but that happens almost every week. Somebody tells me that. And I just think that's so cool. I think that, it definitely gives me value to hear that. Like, and there's no price that I can be paid that really is better than that as far as I'm concerned. I make a good hourly wage for doing what I do in personal training. So, that's great. I'm grateful for that. But I mean, like hearing like how much something helps that I'm offering them, that I'm teaching them is just worth more. And it's just really cool. And it got me really thinking, and that's what this podcast is about, like why can't there be more of this? And I take yesterday's experience and I listened to Arnold Schwarzenegger's podcast this morning because I like to listen to podcasts too. And I personally like his. I think it's very well done, Arnold admits that he's not an exercise physiologist. He's the world's greatest bodybuilder. He's a great actor. He was a politician. He admits that those were the things he's great at. And he has a staff of people like me, scientists in the field of exercise and diet science, and that do the research for him. And then he just simply reads it, or actually, as he says, I actually think it's AI that reads it in his voice. But in any event, he's got his name on it, so it's his podcast. And he was talking about kind of the same thing, like exercise is simple and scientific. And we are failing. We are failing as a nation and as a world to get people hooked on proper diet and exercise. I mean, we're failing. I mean, in the email this morning, I'm not sure when you're going to listen to this, but on February 15th's email this morning, I talked about the obesity rates in 1970s was around 15%, and now they're at 43%. And I talked about how that's a problem, but the only thing we can do about it is individually change our behavior, which is true. And I think that's true for everything in life. We've got to be the change we wish to see, as Gandhi said. So, but we are failing. Like, we are failing when we see these rates as high as it is. And we know that obesity is linked to cardiovascular disease. It's linked to diabetes. It's linked to many forms of cancer. It's linked to osteoarthritis. I mean, these are bad things. Like, we can be healthier. We don't have to do this. So why? Why are we failing? And Arnold brought up a great point. It really comes down to science and hard work. This is his quote. I will not steal it. Science and hard work has been hijacked by quick fixes, lies, and pills. And man, isn't that the truth? I mean, you can't say it any better than the governor, right? I mean, there's no way around that. I mean, so science is out there. Like, I talked about it the other day when I was being facetious and said, it's about the calories, dummy. I mean, that's science. That's just, I hate to break it to you people, but it's science. It's energy. When energy gets broken down, it burns energy. And then we need energy to live. And if we have too much energy, we store energy. It's just science, and calories are energy. That's what they are. Protein gets broken down into energy. Carbohydrates gets broken down into energy. Fat gets broken down into energy. It's all energy. We are energy. We eat energy and we burn energy. And when we eat too much energy and don't burn enough energy, we store the energy. And guess what? That stored energy is called adipose tissue, which is fat. It's really that simple. The hard part is, how do we do what we're supposed to do to change it? We know what we're supposed to do. I really think, I believe that people know ultimately what they're supposed to do. But when they hear that solution of, Schwarzenegger brought up, the ridiculous commercials like, have these kind of abs in 30 days and just do this. And you buy some stupid diet program and maybe you buy the ab roller with it. And it's got some dude with perfect abs and a perfect tan, lifting his shirt up on the cover. We can all picture it, right? And people go out and buy it because why? Because even though you just spent $29.99 on it, which I guess is, well, it's not a lot of money, but I mean, it's $30, right? Because you did that, that's actually easier than having to restrict what you're supposed to eat. That's actually easier than saying no to that Frappuccino when you're shopping at Target, when in the old days you just went to the grocery store like Publix and you shopped. Well, now you can get this 600 calorie treat as you're pushing your grocery cart around the store. And so, the temptation's there, sure. And it's just, a lot easier to say, yeah, I'm going to have this because I'm buying old Joe Rocco's hard ab routine, and I'm going to have abs just like him in 30 days. And I'm going to do that. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. So that's out there. So it's been replaced with quick fixes, right? And then, of course, the medications that are out there. I mean, that's also made things easier for many people, But, there's no such thing as a free lunch. I mean, I've been doing this a really, really long time, and I'm not going to piss off the entire medical community who might be a proponent of some of these new fat loss drugs, because I will say that in medically supervised instances where people are going to die if they don't lose 100 pounds, I get it. I really, really do. But I think a lot of people are taking these that are nowhere near that situation. People that you've seen that are maybe 30 pounds overweight that simply heard about it and strong-arm their physician into prescribing it for them, And I do think that's going on a lot. You know what? If that pisses off some people, I don't care, because that's wrong. Because there isn't anything, there's no such thing as a free lunch. And I can remember in the 1990s when I was already had a pretty well-established practice of personal training, and Fin was out, the stimulant. And I knew people that were taking it, and everybody was dropping a lot of weight. And nobody I know, but a lot of people worldwide dropped to heart attacks. There's no such thing as a free lunch. There is going to be side effects of everything we put in our body. There just is. There's no such thing as something without a side effect. So you have to measure if the side effect is worth it. And there's a lot of things, of course, where medications, absolutely, you can say if there's a side effect, it's worth it compared to what this medication is going to do. But is this the case? Is it? I mean, I can't answer that for you. But is this the case if you're 30 pounds overweight, 25 pounds overweight, even 50 pounds overweight? Many, many people have dropped that kind of weight through diet and exercise. Many people have done it. And you know what? There's not really any side effects to diet and exercise. And if you learn to do it that way, you're never going to have to rely on the medical community or a pill to help you in the future. And it can be done. I mean, one of my clients is a physician, and she has dropped close to 50 pounds in the last 2 years. And I am so proud of her, and I know she's proud of herself, and she did it the right way. And that was through really, I mean, she always exercised, and she was pretty darn fit, but she had the extra weight that she didn't like, and she finally just buckled down and started eating right. And she doesn't eat anything out of a box anymore. I mean, it was really very simple for her. She just went to pure whole foods, nothing out of a box, no crap. And when she makes like treats and stuff, because like she dropped off something for Ellen the other day for her birthday, and she's brought me by treats before it. It was like pumpkin muffin things. Like she's making stuff from scratch, So she did it the right way. She's always been active, but she decided to really buckle down in her diet, and she lost the weight. She looks like two different people. So it can be done. And then finally, the third reason why we're failing is because my industry has been hijacked by influencers who don't use science because they don't know the science and they don't care about the science. So they're trying to make everything look super complicated. And it's not. Sure, there's a science to it. But because I know the science, because I've studied the science, I know it's not complicated. Schwarzenegger, again, I mean, I'm going to keep talking about him so much you're going to quit listening to my podcast and just go to his. But that's fine because he's got good information too. But like he says it all the time. He says, he'll go on Instagram or somewhere and he'll see some ridiculous, stupid exercise and he'll make a joke. He's like 70-something years of age. He says, you don't think I've seen every exercise under the sun? What is this guy doing? I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, there's bicep curls, there's squats, there's tricep extensions, there's shoulder presses. Like, they're out there. You don't have to make it more complicated. Just make it harder. Do more. You don't have to do like all these super complicated movements. And like yesterday, like all we have in this room is our bodies and dumbbells from 2 pounds to 10. That's all we have. And you know what? Everybody in that room has gotten stronger. Everybody in my group has gotten stronger through the months. And we've done it with basic exercises, feeling better. You know, we start out by doing some body weight squats. Not everybody can do them. When they can't, they can't. We do some shoulder presses. We do some bent over rows. We do some kickbacks with the dumbbells. We do curls. We do side raises. We walk side to side with no weight at all, just going from one end of the room to the other. We'll do stairs because we're on the upstairs. So for those that can, they'll go up and down the stairs a couple times. It's that simple. It's really that simple. Exercise is about doing the same thing and doing it consistently. That's it. And, you know, like, it's always been this way. I mean, I can remember years ago, like somebody telling me that they wear, and if you do it, come on, stop it. But they wear like ankle weights and wrist weights on their limbs as they go up and down the bridge. Like, well, I wanted to make it harder. I looked him in the eye and said, then go faster. I mean, what do you mean? You want to make it harder? Go faster. You don't have to put things on your body. I mean, and you think, well, what's wrong with that? Well, studies have shown that it increases more stress on your joints if you do that. Like, there's no reason to be swinging your arms with wrist weights. There's no point in that. You know, you want to get up the bridge faster, whether you walk or run, go up faster. It's not complicated. You know, if you want to improve your cardio in your walker, walk faster. If you want to improve your cardio in your runner, run faster. If you want to improve your strength and you're going to the gym, use more load, do more reps. It's not rocket science. And I can tell you that from somebody who does have a master's degree in physiology. I promise you, there's not all this stuff behind the scenes that you don't know about. You're being lied to. So if we want success, all right, we have to remember that everything in life comes back to hard work and consistency. It's that simple. I want more people leaving rooms like we left yesterday, feeling like they're getting better because they're not being lied to. They're just simply going somewhere or they're going by themselves and they're doing a basic program that's easy to follow and easy enough to be consistent with. And it doesn't require a lot of equipment, and it doesn't require a lot of knowledge. It doesn't require a lot of anything except good old willpower to get out and do it. All right? So that's the message for the day. I hope everybody learned something. I always enjoy speaking at you. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to email me, text, call the gym, whatever. All the information's on the website. Please subscribe if you're not already, and please download because it helps me with my Spotify and Apple Pod numbers. And now let me thank Overhead Door of Daytona Beach, the area's best garage door company, owned by Jeff and Zach Hawk, and they can be reached at overheaddordaytona.com.